We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Tuesday. We've got a busy week already, plenty of things to talk about. We did emails yesterday. We had a number of guests on the show. About time to do another TikTok live show. I really like doing these because they're a lot like the email shows in that I get a lot of interaction from folks. It goes along at a faster pace. And even though it might seem like I'm talking more or talking faster, the time goes by quicker. And I think there's a lot more information in these shows. I may be wrong, but my fucking show. So we're going to do it that way. I tend to be lazy. And surprisingly, this is an easier way to do it too, to do the TikTok live and to do the podcast at the same time. So I'm hoping that you enjoy it as much as the other shows and as much as I do. So we're going to do it again here. I'm going to go live on TikTok, and we'll be talking here on the podcast as well as we sit here on the live. We'll wait a bit before we start getting people coming to the room. We're pretty fortunate. We always get a lot of folks coming to the room, a lot of interaction, and that's what makes this whole show a lot easier. Joe Biden, of course, um, spoke at the LBJ Library, and he was talking about the Supreme Court and the call for reform in the Supreme Court. They want term limits. They want to make sure that a president doesn't have any immunity from committing crimes while in office, and there's got to be some kind of accountability for the Supreme Court too. I mean, um, we've got to have some code of ethics that's actually enforceable. They said they wanted to put their own code of ethics up, and of course, they don't enforce it, so it's really not worth anything. All right. Now we're going to the live here. You folks in the live, I want to thank you for coming in and joining me in this live. I enjoy doing these because I like interacting with folks. Um, just so you know, I'm also recording this so that it's a Rational Boomer podcast for tomorrow. Um, So if you can't stay for the whole thing or somebody missed it, you can always go to the podcast on YouTube or Spotify and see what happened here. Wendy says, I love listening to you for your informative. Thank you. I've been called worse things. And that's what I like when I come to the TikTok lives. People are generally nice. Now, there may be some Trumplafucks that come in, and Gray Captain and TJ, the moderators here, will tell you just don't engage with them. It doesn't pay to engage with them. They don't have platforms of their own, so they want to jump on this platform and try to get attention. Unfortunately, they're not the brightest folks, and they'll try to argue with you, and you can't win an argue with, so don't bother. Rob Elliott says, hello, I'm from Liverpool and really like your style. Give them hell. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Elliot. Liverpool. Hi, Boomer. Love listening to you, Felicia. Thank you very much. We're getting more and more folks in here. Go ahead, throw out the questions, comments, complaints, whatever you got. We love to hear it. Grace, we love you. Thanks for sharing your time with us. Oh, no, it's my pleasure, honestly, to be able to come out on TikTok or the podcast and speak my truth and speak my mind and have people care enough to listen. That's an absolute honor for me. Knowledge is power. Thanks for telling the truth. You're absolutely right. Hey, dude, thank you for your candor. You rock. Thank you. Wow, this is a mutual admiration society. I learned a trick how to deal with boomers a long time ago. I deal with the most stupid people. I don't even know what that means. Hey, from Minnesota, love your live. Hey, Mickey, Minnesota homie here. Good to have you. Let's see here. So glad I found you on TikTok watching from Atlanta, Georgia. Love Atlanta. Go down to Savannah all the time. We have a little place down there. So we'll probably be coming through Atlanta at some point later on this fall into the winter. Got somebody calling in from Calgary. Mike Neeson says, love listening to your straight talk. I appreciate it. Keep speaking to the people. Do you think he'll do the interview with the FBI? Yeah, that's the interesting thing. Ever since that assassination attempt took place in Pennsylvania, been a lot of questions about it, not too many answers. I mean, how does a guy get shot in the ear with a high velocity round coming from an AR-15 at 130 yards and not have his ear tore off? That just doesn't make any sense. And in fact, when we've seen pictures of his ear since then, it seems pristine. It doesn't seem to have been damaged at all. So the FBI is investigating into this assassination, which you'd expect when somebody tries to shoot a former president, they would investigate it. And they asked him to come be questioned about this, not as a criminal, but as a victim to the crime. And surprisingly, he said yes, he would come in. I have to think when he comes in, he said he got shot by a bullet. He's going to have to show him the ear. The interesting thing is, will we hear what that report ends up being? I hope so. Babita's watching from Toronto. Love listening to you from Los Angeles. Well, we got the whole North America shit going on. Good to hear from you. Have you heard anything about the assassination attempt investigation? Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Apparently, they are going to interview Donald Trump with regards to his take on that assassination attempt, but they're going to do other parts of the investigation too, into the shooter and the Secret Service and the FBI and the police. So it should be interesting to see what they come up with. Jesus in Vegas. Good to hear from you, Jesus. Mamad, hi from Milwaukee. Thank you. What do you think about the election? Love your channel. I've always thought that Biden would win over Donald Trump, and I thought he would win decisively. Now, with Kamala in the seat and the way things are going, I think it's going to be an absolute embarrassment for Donald Trump. He has no idea what's going to hit him. And maybe he does because he does appear to be scared. Um, I think it's going to be a huge win for Kamala Harris. Um, this is about Republicans and Donald Trump at war with women, people of color, LGBTQ. And what better champion to have than a Black South Asian woman going up against Donald Trump, who he's scared to death of? I think it's going to be huge. I don't think it's going to be close. Keep in mind, this election was never about who's most popular. It's about how bad people hate Donald Trump and are fearful of Donald Trump. Remember, in 2020, Joe Biden got 81 million votes, not as much for him being the perfect candidate at that point, but because people were terrified of the prospect of Donald Trump being president again. Well, in those 4 years, do you think people are any less scared or any less angry? I would say they're more so. And that's why I believe it's going to be just an absolute landslide. BJ says, God bless you. As always, Mike, your words give me hope. Thank you. You know, that's one thing when I started doing this, I never imagined that I'd be giving other people hope. I really do this to give myself hope, to understand and make the right choices about things. But the great byproduct is that I hear from people every day saying, you gave me hope, you talked me off a ledge. And that is a great honor to be able to do that, to have that effect on people. I looked at a video that somebody did, a young mixed race woman, and she went on and did a video and thanked me because I stood up for people of color and women and stuff. And I said, listen, man, you don't have to thank me. I'm not looking at this as in terms of color or race or gender or sexual orientation. This is about the difference between good and evil. If you're good, you're like me. If you want good for this country, you're like me, regardless of what the aesthetics are or what your orientation is. Who do you think Madam President will pick as VP? Well, that's a good question. The good news about that is no matter who she picks, it's going to be better than fucking JD Vance. What a clown. What a loser that guy is. I don't know. Some people say Shapiro. Some people say my own governor from the state of Minnesota, Tim Walz, and he would be a great choice. Um, my guess would they probably go with Mark Kelly down in Arizona because it's kind of a swing state. He's a former astronaut. He's married to Gabby Gifford. He's a military guy. He lives in a state that's on the border. He has a lot of the boxes checked, but I don't really know. There could be any number of reasons who she picks and why she picks them. It should be coming soon. The big picture, all of us in the minorities need to stand together. Yes, but all your white friends have to do it too. And I think we're seeing that. We're seeing Republicans coming over to Kamala. People that voted for Nikki Haley are coming over to Kamala. There's I don't know what the final figure is, but the white men in this country are doing a Zoom call tonight to collect money. The first time they did, a little bit of an embarrassment. I yelled at some folks, but I think we're going to see a big difference tonight. And of course, white women, they had 136,000 people come to the Zoom, got what, $2 million or more. I don't think we're talking about race anymore, or even sexual orientation. That's why I don't know that Pete Buttigieg wouldn't be a bad choice. I think he'd be a good choice, regardless if he happens to be gay or not. I think we've kind of transcended that. There's a bigger issue here. That's, do we keep democracy or do we go to authoritarianism? We know what people want. People are scared. Everybody said, well, I don't know if Kamala Harris can get that much interest. Well, that fucking proved you wrong, right? Kamala is probably got the most energy, the most momentum of any presidential candidate I've ever fucking seen. Gen X Amber, 1978. Hey, Gen X Amber. Hey, I want you guys to do me a favor. I told you about the young woman who sent me the video and I responded to her. It is Gen X Amber, 1978. She's got a decent following, very sharp young woman, very passionate young woman, and she's doing some good stuff. So if you get a chance, follow her. Give her a follow. Uh, Dale Talk, thank you for all you do. Yeah, you don't have to keep thanking me, man. Let's talk about the shit. Mike, let me know if you see someone who's a problem. A lot of people are joining. Yeah, yeah, that's TJ the plumber. He is one of the moderators. He's out there to try to keep us safe from uh, from the trolls. What we're trying to do is just make it an hour at least. Just make it an hour. Mikey likes it 76. That could be one, TJ. Appreciate your information. I love the attitude. Love when you use motherfucker as good as Sam Jackson. Well, I'm not even close to Sam Jackson. I'm pretty good for a white guy, but Sam Jackson is the shit. Mark Kelly or Roy Cooper. Well, Greta King, I don't know if you heard this, but Roy Cooper just dropped out of the running for the vice presidential candidate. He said, "Nope, I'm out of the race here to be VP." So Roy Cooper isn't going to be it. Passport says vote in massive numbers so the Cheeto won't cheat. Yeah, I think the more decisive the election, the better for everybody involved. Why does Trump keep saying, I don't need any more votes? This is his way of doubling down. It's like when he loses something, he tells you he won. He tries to convince you the opposite is true because he wants to be tough. Will Trump go to jail after? Yes, I think he absolutely will go to jail. It'll be interesting to see what he's sentenced to in September for the Manhattan case. But those three other trials are going to happen after the election. He won't be running for president. He won't be president. And the Republican Party will pretty much have bailed on him. So he'll be pretty vulnerable. He'll be an island unto himself. And whether he gets sent to jail or not for the Manhattan district case, those other cases almost guarantee that he's going to jail. Rachel Maddow said tonight Trump loyalists will try to not verify the election to give Trump the win. I've heard this before. People are saying, well, they'll cheat. Well, of course they'll cheat. But keep in mind, they cheated in 2020. The difference was Donald Trump was the president. They had the control in the House and the Senate. It didn't work then. It's certainly not going to work now with Joe Biden as president of the United States and the Democrats holding the Senate. Here's one thing to consider. One of the things that this Supreme Court did in giving immunity to a president, they also gave it to Joe Biden. Now, I know what you're going to say. Joe Biden wouldn't do anything unthinkable because he's not that kind of man, and that is true. However, What if we come up to the day of the election and some crazy, weird fucking shit happens? Or on the day of the certification on January 6th? Joe might say, look, I'm on the way out, bitches. I'm 81 years old. I'm not running for anything. We're going to take this shit down. And that's why the Republicans want him to step down now and have Kamala step up. Joe Biden's a wild card. He's dangerous to these people. They know it, and they put him in the position to do it. So if it comes out getting real dirty around the election and or the certification, don't be surprised if Donald or Joe Biden doesn't use his extra powers now to straighten that shit out. I hope they pick Governor Walz. He can't punch back really good. He can punch back really good. Yeah, Governor Walz is a smart guy, former teacher, highly successful in the state of Minnesota, probably the most successful governor we've ever had. He's done a ton of stuff. Someone whose seat does not cause him harm. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Love your content. Thank you. Shapiro's great, but has baggage. I don't know how much baggage he has, but he's only been in politics in the Senate for, or in, where is he? The governorship, only for a short time. So there's maybe a lot of unknowns there. And we don't want something crazy to happen. You install a vice presidential candidate, and then all this bad shit comes out about, or these scandals. The Republicans will exaggerate it. I mean, he couldn't be any worse than fucking JD Vance, but that's something to consider about. Hi, thanks for your commentary. I bet he has the National Guard on speed dial. Yeah, I bet he does. Because in DC, it's the president that has the control over to the National Guard. Donald Trump would have you believe that it was Nancy Pelosi. It's not. It's the president and the Pentagon who have control of the DC National Guard. TJ the plumber says Shapiro is clean. If he's clean, that's cool. He's a good guy to do it. I wouldn't have a problem if he is the vice presidential nominee. Honestly, the three that she's picked out, she really can't go too far wrong with either one of them. So I'm not worried about it. She's going to make the best choice. She's made some good choices up to this point. Trump is telling Christians to go vote and the rest will be fixed. Well, what he actually said was, you just have to vote this time and then you'll never have to vote again. It'll all be fixed. Now, what did he mean by that? The only thing you can possibly think that he meant was that you aren't going to have to vote again because I ain't fucking leaving. And we know that's true. Denise says thoughts on Bashir. I like Bashir. The only problem with Bashir is he's a Democratic governor in Kentucky, a highly red state. If they pull him out, the likelihood of getting another Democratic governor in there is probably slim. Can he drop Vance or is it too late? No, he can drop him. He can drop him. But it would fuck everything up. It would be embarrassing. It would weaken them. And they're already in a weakened state. This happened one time before back in 1972. George McGovern was running for the Democratic nomination as the Democratic nominee in the 72 election. He had picked Thomas Eagleton as the vice presidential nominee. But then something came out that they found out that he'd had some appointments with a psychiatrist. He had some emotional and mental issues, nothing major, but he went to see a psychiatrist. And that was enough for people to push back. They kicked him out. They brought in Sergeant Shriver, who was an in-law to JFK, and McGovern lost pretty handily. So J.D. Vance is hurting them while he's the vice presidential nominee, but it may hurt them worse to get rid of him. And who are they going to get? Who's better than J.D. Vance? Were they going to get Jim Jordan? They're all fucking weirdos. They're all fucking weirdos. So it doesn't matter who he gets. Gallifrey says 3.6 million raised by white men so far. That's what I'm talking about. First time around, they didn't do shit. I knew with the second chance, we'd get this shit right. So we've got people who have come to the Zoom meetings. black women, black men, white women, and white men now, and every one of them shows solid support in real numbers. If Kamala would take over, would that count as a term if she is to run again? No. She can't be in office more than 10 years. So if she took over for Joe Biden with less than 2 years left in his term, then she could run for two more terms. If she took over with more than 2 years left in the term, she could only run for one more term. So we're well past that 2 year period. And Joe's not going to step down. We saw him at the LBJ library today. He's solid. Keeping him talking is going to help Kamala all the way, too. So he's not going to step down. But right at this point, if he did, she could still run twice. What do you think of Bashir for VP? I think he's a solid guy. I think he's a solid choice. I think they're a little afraid to pull him out of Kentucky because then you'll be back with a Republican governor. Trump can drop JD Vance if he wanted to. He can. He can. Or JD can just back out. I don't know. JD's getting pretty beat up these days. I don't know if I'd want to stick around if I had an option. All right. Miss D says, Sheldon Whitehouse. Yeah. Sheldon Whitehouse is solid. I love this guy. He would be a great president. The only problem with him is something that he's an old white guy. We got to get away from the old white guys. Even though he's great, we need to get the younger people in there. But Sheldon Whitehouse would be a great choice. What about Beto? Beto would be a good choice too. However, there's a little bit of a stigma with Beto. And don't get me wrong, I'm not talking shit about Beto. But Beto's been in two races for governor and senator, and he's lost both times. He's got to kind of rebuild his position, the perception people have of him. If he hadn't lost both of those, he might be a better candidate. The bottom line here is that we win in November. We have to have the best chance to win. And, Beto can wait his turn, maybe another 4 more years, or maybe he's put on in the administration by Kamala afterwards. I don't think he'd be a good VP choice at this point. 6 years, I believe Walz has zero issues. Yeah, I'm willing to bet that he has zero issues. If he had issues, we would have heard about it here. I think he's a great choice. He's smart. He's the one that got this new trend going around where all Democrats call Republicans weirdos. He started that. Shapiro is governor of PA. Yes, he is. Hello from Cedro Woolley, Washington. Hey, Katie Berger. Can you tell me if Trump is allowed to change running mates? Yeah, he could do it. He could pull it off. It would not be easy, but he could do it. And it would probably not be in his best interest to do it. The people around him would tell him not to do it. But you know how Donald Trump does things. He'll just fucking do it anyway. Do we have a chance to turn some red states blue? Absolutely. I think we're looking at a lot of red states flipping. Florida might be a good choice because they've got a couple of things on the ballot that's going to bring out the Democrats. Making abortion legal, that's a possibility. And making marijuana legal. That's going to get a lot of Democrats out, and the Democrats have a chance of. And plus, DeSantis has pretty much destroyed Florida and made it a horrible place to try to exist in. Florida is a wonderful state. It's a beautiful state. There are some nice people. I don't know if you heard this story. There's a place in Florida called the Villages. This is a big retirement community, but it's huge. And it's always been known as kind of a Trump humper's haven. Well, recently they had a rally with literally hundreds of golf carts coming out supporting Kamala Harris. So it's interesting. I think Florida might possibly be. I think Texas, some people say Texas could be too because of their draconian abortion laws. You were about to say it right. Red states that many will overlook. I'm not sure what that means. DeSantis caused many Floridans to leave this past year. No doubt. No doubt. And the people who have stayed have been upset. I mean, overturning Roe v. Wade was one thing, and then when you made it illegal to have an abortion in Florida, it's only 6 weeks there. Probably 75% of that state support Roe v. Wade. If they're going to stay in this place, this puts their young women in danger. And the people who support those young women are going to be upset about that. They're going to have a problem come the election. Let's see here. And the villages went wild. That's what I hear. Not only known for STDs, but now supporting Kamala Harris. Go Villages. How about Tim Walz, our governor, farmer, teacher, representative, National Guard? That's right, Michael. He's my governor too. I'm in Minnesota. I think he'd be a great choice. The only thing I hate about it is that I think we need him as governor. I hate to lose him as governor, but if it's for bigger and better things and it helps Kamala get elected, I'm for it. You can't go wrong with Tim Walz. He's probably the most successful and productive governor in the United States to this point, Democratic governor, that is. What he did in Minnesota is similar to what Biden did in the federal government as far as getting so many things done with a thin margin. Many people are saying that bone spurs have flared up for Donald Trump. That's why he's dodging the debate. Okay, I got something that says there's some restrictions on this because some of the topics wouldn't be suitable for other people. I don't know what that's about. That's maybe some of the Trumplafucks out there complaining and whining. They're going to lose, so they're upset, and they try to take things like this down. I will just say this to the Trumplafucks. I do TikToks every day. I get literally hundreds of thousands of people that listen to it. I have a podcast every night. Tens of thousands of people listen to it. You can try to shut me up, but you won't. Even if you do try to take me down here, I'll appeal it and then I'll be back on tomorrow. So Cooper announces he's removed himself from the VP list. Yeah, Roy Cooper from North Carolina, he's removed himself from the running for the VP thing. And I'll be honest with you, Roy Cooper seems like a great possibility, but once again, we're talking about an older white man. That's not really what we need. You know, some people talk about Pete Buttigieg. Well, he's gay. We don't know. I think those times and those worries are behind us now, at least with the Democratic Party. The Republicans will be probably crazy. I like Gavin Newsom for VP. Is that possible? I'm not sure. I've heard different things from different people. Some people say you can't have a presidential and vice presidential candidate from the same state, and Kamala Harris is from California too. I have a feeling that Gavin Newsom will be a good candidate for president. I think he's resigned to the fact that he's going to have to wait till 2028 at least. When Kamala was endorsed by Joe Biden, he immediately endorsed Kamala Harris. So he took himself out of the running at that point. He said, I'm back. I'm solid behind Kamala Harris for president. So a lot of people thought they would jump over her and take Gavin Newsom. I think Gavin Newsom is cool where he is for the moment. He'll be in national politics ultimately. He is a good candidate. I like Gavin Newsom. I don't live in California, so I speak from just my perception. Some people in California aren't a fan. Do you think the chances of keeping the Senate are better and getting the House? I think we're going to get the House with no problem. We'll maybe get 20 or 30 seats there, which will be a good thing for us. I don't think we'll have a problem keeping the Senate either, especially when you look at somebody like Ted Cruz, who looks like he may lose in his race down there. I like to be positive about things, and I get a sense that we're on a trend right now. We've gone through hell for 8 years, and now's the time for things to get better. And with the recent endorsement by Joe Biden of Kamala Harris and this huge surge of support, that just tells me it's a sign we are headed for brighter days after the November 5th election. Yeah, I think we'll keep the Senate, and I think we'll keep the House, because not only are people afraid of Donald Trump, they're afraid of the Republicans with this Roe v. Wade thing. Donald Trump isn't the only one that supports overturning Roe v. Wade and getting a national ban on abortion. All Republicans do. And I think that's enough to make people fearful enough to vote Democrat just to save their constitutional rights. What about the Supreme Court justices? Well, we know that Joe Biden put out a call for reform in the Supreme Court. They want to have term limits. They want to make sure that he wants to make sure their presidents aren't immune from any crimes they might commit while in office, and that there should be some accountability, a code of ethics that can be enforced, presumably by Congress, over the Supreme Court. Now, he's putting that out there. The likelihood of that passing through the House is slim. But what he's done there is he's put that in the ether so people can get that in their heads. And then when they ultimately do vote on it, they can see who votes for it and who votes against it. I think most everybody understands that we have a problem with the Supreme Court that has to be fixed. And if the Republicans refuse to fix it, that's cool. Wait till after November 5th. They'll do it again, and that time it will pass. Republicans are off the handle. Yes, they are. I pray Cruz gets kicked out. He's not good for Texas. He's not good for anything, probably even his wife and his kids. Trump is up over 20 points over Harris in Minnesota. That's just not true. I live in Minnesota. Harris is up by about 6 to 8 points over Donald Trump. I don't know where you came up with that, but it's just flat out fucking wrong. And like I say, I live in Minnesota. I've been paying attention. 12th Amendment says they can't be from the same state, right? Okay. Can Trump run for 2028 if he loses? Yeah, theoretically he could, but he won't be able to. He'll either be in jail, the Republicans will be done with him because he does nothing but lose. Donald Trump is 78 years old, and he looks every bit of it. He's not cognizantly sound. I wouldn't worry about Donald Trump in 2028 if he's still alive. He's kind of like a cockroach, so he won't be a factor after the 2024 election. He'll be kind of kicked to the corner. Let's see here. Favorability is higher than Trump's in all swing states. Yes, that's true. If we get the House and the Senate, we can investigate the crooked judges. We don't have to investigate them. We can either impeach them or expand the court and make them weaker. We can probably force somebody like Clarence Thomas the hell out. He's likely to get some indictments because while he may be a Supreme Court justice, he can't break tax laws. He can't break other laws. And if he gets an indictment, it's going to be hard for him to keep his seat. What I presume will happen is somebody will go to him, you need to go now or you're going to fucking jail. And I bet he retires. He's old too. He's in his 70s. I believe you, Boomer. Trump won't win in Minnesota. Well, Mama Try, let me tell you this. A Republican hasn't won in Minnesota in the presidential election since 1950 fucking two. So, yeah, Trump can't win in Minnesota. It's not even going to be close. Somebody says, I think you like Pete, don't you, big guy? I like Pete. And I don't like the inference you're making. It's childish. It's seventh grade humor. And his name is user 1747305271708. Hold it. Hold it. I'll take care of this. All right. Hold on a second. You're just going to have to bear with me here. I'm doing what I'm doing on TikTok. Every time on TikTok, if I get a Trumplafuck, I just block them. I don't need them. I don't want them. And so you're done. How many votes do you think Kamala will win by? Well, Joe won by 7 million votes in the popular vote. I would imagine it'll at least be doubled, if not tripled. That sounds crazy, but take a look at the circumstances. Hold on a second. I got another one here. Twister 509. TJ, do your shit. Or Gray Captain. Glenda, Texas here. I need crews out. Yeah, I know how you're feeling. Everybody wants that. BlackRock runs this country. End of story. Um, I don't know how. And your point is what? Yes, it's in the hopper. We all love Pete. Absolutely. Trump will likely win Iowa because we are stupid here. Well, that's true. Iowa is kind of a weird spot. On the podcast, I frequently have Eric who lives in Iowa, and he's not so sure that it could ever go blue. But I tell you what, just today, Iowa became the 22nd state to ban abortions. The abortion ban starts at 6 weeks in Iowa. So if there are those people that love Trump but need some reproductive health care, you're going to have to fucking come to Minnesota. So how much do you like Donald Trump now? No trust in SCOTUS, absolutely. Pete Buttigieg is VP. He's a distinct possibility. I don't think he's on the short list, though. I think Pete is still pretty young, and I think when Kamala gets in, Pete will take a bigger role in the administration. All right, let's see here. Nope, we all agree she can beat him. I don't think there's any question she can beat him. I mean, Donald Trump is absolutely the worst presidential candidate in the history of this country. There's nobody with more baggage that has run for president. Most real nominees with real parties would have kicked this fucking clown out long ago. We have a problem with Thomas and Alito. We do, and we will attend to those problems right after November 5th, right after January 3rd, I would think. I live in Minnesota too. I've also been paying attention. Good for you. I so agree with everything you're saying. Thank you. Thank you. Somebody else calling for Tim Walls. I hope we have a blue tsunami. Well, I don't know if we'd go as far as a tsunami, but it could be. I think the Democrats, particularly Kamala, will win decisively. There'll be no question in anybody's mind who won. Where do you find your polling? That is legitimate because I had a hard time finding a good poll. I don't trust polls at all, and I'll tell you why. We don't know who owns the polls. We found out in some cases it's very wealth Trumplafuck owners or Trumplafuck fans. I don't trust the polls. We don't know the questions they're asking. We don't know who they're talking to. We don't know what the data is. The most important thing is don't listen to polls. The polls were wrong in 2016 when they said Hillary Clinton would win. They were wrong in 2020 when they said Donald Trump would win. They were wrong in 2022 when they said there'd be a red wave. So why should we believe the polls going into 2024's election in November? That's why I say they want to tell you it's close. The media wants you to understand that it's close, so they keep you nervous and keep watching their product on television. The fact is, it's not going to be close. It no logic would tell you that it's going to be close. Let's see. Trump won't make it to 2028. Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. Wow, Texas might turn blue. Good for Texas. Remember the Alamo. Yeah, I tell you what, if Texas or Florida, it would be almost impossible for Donald Trump to win if either one of them turned blue. If they both turned blue, fucking Donnie's done. I'm from Minneapolis, such a wonderful mess. Your leader are a mess. Um, okay. Uh, Thank you for pointing yourself out, because you're gone. See, that's the thing is Minnesota's a very blue state, but there are pockets of Trumplafucks in this state. I can go to a few towns and no, it's nothing but Trumplafucks. Um, it would really be nice if Kamala picked Obama for her VP. I can't do that. Obama's already served 8 years. He can't serve more than 10. If he is Kamala's VP and something happens to her, then he would be in a position to serve more time than he's legally capable of. And Obama's not going to take a VP job. That's not going to happen. Don is done. Yes, I agree. Trump will be over and done with. I can't wait to never see him on TV again. DJT is demented now. Imagine 2028. Yeah, absolutely. Geez, if Republicans can't find a quality candidate and trot out Trump again, they are in trouble. Donald Trump will be out of the mix after November 5th. The Republicans will be done with him because if he's already destroyed the party, if they continue, they might as well just quit and start over. They may have to do that anyway. I love Gretchen Whitmer a lot for VP, but she's not interested. No, she's not. She's not interested. I saw her on TV, very sharp lady, very skilled governor. She's probably going to wait for her time too later on. I'm sure Don Jr. will try and run in 2028. Yeah, I doubt it. By that time, the name will be so sullied, Trump will be a pariah. Nobody will take him seriously. And that's assuming the drugs don't get him before then. Have you heard him in his recent recordings? Something's wrong with that boy. I thought we were done with Trump after 2020. I thought we were too. And the Republicans, had they been smart, they would have let him go to Mar-a-Lago and forgot about him. But Kevin McCarthy brought him back into the fold. That's why you've got to. That's why you got to hold the Republicans responsible for this. Boomer, what about the MAGAs in the party? They won't let him go regardless of his loss. Yeah, but we're talking about 25% there. There isn't enough of them to really get anything accomplished. They'll die on the vine like the Tea Party did or the Whigs back in the old days. Yes, the Trump family needs to be out there, get a clean sweep. Do you think DJT and MAGA will cause problems again after they lose? I do not. They did after 2020 because Donald Trump was the president. He could cover them, give them protection. Donald Trump is not the president. Joe Biden is the president. And if they want to rush to the Capitol, the National Guard will be there ahead of time, and it will be a fucking mess. Will we see the rise of Barron? Well, first of all, he's 18 fucking years old, and he's going to have enough bullshit to deal with what's left of his father and his father's money. You may have to get a real fucking job. Between Eric and Junior, they both sound like they consume nose candy. Well, I think that's probably true. He'll continue to hold rallies. Well, maybe he will, but when nobody comes and he can't afford to pay for the venues anymore and he's running out of spots to do that, then what's he going to do? Do it on Zoom? Trump just wants to get out of his legal problems. Absolutely, that's what he wants to do. He's in so deep and buried so deep that his only chance is to win the presidency and try to wiggle his way out. Well, if that's his only hope, that is a hell of a Hail Mary because he's not getting out. I would never vote Republican anyway. Listen to Rational Boomer podcast on Spotify. Yes, I'll remind you of that. I do a Rational Boomer podcast every night. This TikTok live will be a Rational Boomer podcast for tomorrow. But if you want to listen to the podcast, all you have to do is go to YouTube, search Rational Boomer, and there'll be the TikToks there, and there will be the podcast as well. If you just want the audio version of it, you can go to Spotify, do the same thing. Search for Rational Boomer, and it's there. So I hope you'll check it out. Demented Donnie won't go quietly into the night in November. By the way, where's the blood-soaked red hat? Yeah, I'd like to see that too. I think when the FBI investigates and questions him, we'll find out some more things. I think he thinks that he can talk his way out of anything. I don't know. That's a pretty big deal. Somebody actually died. I hope to God he didn't have something to do with this happening. All right. Trump and his worshipers won't get close to that area. No, they won't. When will we get rid of MTG for the love of God? Well, I don't know if she'll get voted out by her district in Georgia. That sounds like a doozy of a district. But what's going to happen when the Democrats have control of the House and she pulls some of the shit she's pulled? She's probably going to get expelled, much like the other guy did. Let's see here. I'm so sick of Trump and MAGA. They got to go. I think we all agree on that. Heritage and Putin are using Trump to push their agenda. He's not smart enough to come up with any of his own ideas. That is true. That's the funny thing about what's going on. Donald Trump claimed to be responsible for overturning Roe v. Wade. He embraced it. He was supporting Project 2025 up until the time people who are voters saw both issues and they said, that's fucked up. Now he's acting like he has nothing to do with that. But he's got a problem here because there's video of him actually supporting these issues. He can't really deny it. But while he is denying it, he's got the radical right, the evangelicals and such, pissed off because they want Project 2025. They want illegal abortions all around the country. So he's trying to straddle the fence, but he's pissing off people in both directions. Not a smart motherfucker. Melania has her own money. She's been bought. Barron will be fine. Well, hopefully she's stocked away some money so she can leave the country. And if I'm Barron, I certainly don't want to be in this country after the mess that Donald Trump will leave after he's long gone. Harper says, I'm not sure about Mark Kelly. So should we pick Josh Shapiro or Andy Bashar? As far as I heard, Andy Bashar is not on the list, the short list. I'm not sure why, but apparently is. When he loses, he'll fundraise off of that again. Yeah, he's having trouble fundraising now. When he's lost and has nothing to go after, he might get some idiots to send him money, but who cares? Let the Trump-la-fucks go broke, sending money to Donald Trump. I could give a shit. What do you think about Biden trying to fix the immunity thing? I think it's a noble thing. I think it's what he needs to do. I don't know that that will happen before the election, but at least it's out there. We know who supports what. We know the Democrats will vote for it. We know the Republicans won't vote for it. So in the campaign, we can say, look, we want to fix the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is fucked up, but the Republicans won't let us. That'll cause more people not to vote for the Republicans. What about the election denier Secretary of State that don't certify the election if Harris wins? Oh, you're not thinking of the Secretary of State. You're thinking of the Speaker of the House. I've heard this before too. Well, Mike Johnson just won't certify it. I'm going to tell you something. Mike Johnson on January 6th won't be the Speaker of the House. The Democrats will win the House and they get installed on January 3rd. So Hakeem Jeffries is likely to be the Speaker of the House at that point. Sir Boomer, would you be concerned about the Russian nuclear subs near our shores? No. You know, they're going to try to do things and try to distract just so Donald Trump can win. They're going to do everything they can do to win, get Donald Trump to win because he's their puppet. He's their BFF, if you will. People think that Russia is a superpower. They aren't a superpower. They're kind of losers financially and in their military, as we're seeing in Ukraine. The only thing they have is nuclear weapons, but we have them too. They fuck around. The entire country will be destroyed. I think they like to push the issue, push the envelope, but I don't think it's a huge issue. And if they were that close to our shores, if that were true, I'm not sure where you're getting that from. You got to understand that a lot of the news we get these days is not accurate. It's a lot of bullshit. But if they are near us, you can bet that the military is doing something to turn their asses away. If Kamala becomes president, which Supreme Court will issue the oath of office? Supreme Court Justice? Apparently, I would think the Chief Justice, or maybe she can choose one of the Democratic justices. What about Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker for VP? Yeah, I think he'd be a good choice too, but I don't think he's on the list of three that's supposed to be the short list. Why consistently called President Trump by GOP committee members? Why? You know why? They love to own the libtards. They love to make you mad. I don't give a fuck what they call them. I call him a loser, an orange piece of shit, because that's accurate. What do you think about Biden going after the immunity thing? I think that's a good idea. I want people to that hate to hide again. Yeah, I think that's ultimately what's going to happen. See, these racist, misogynist, and anti Semites, they don't disappear. They don't change their minds. They just go back under their rocks, and that's what's likely to happen. I was upset that Biden stepped down, but I listened to his speech. He's a patriot. Yeah, I was disappointed that Biden stepped aside. I thought he could win the election. I still do. Um, I said if he steps aside, the only choice is Kamala. That's the only fair and decent thing to do. Joe Biden made sure she'd be the choice by endorsing him. And then when I saw this amazing amount of support for her, I thought, fuck it, we're right on track. This is destiny in the works. Please do not interact with the trolls. Absolutely. Thank you, TJ the plumber. We used to be a Republican. You used to be a Republican. You're a Democrat. Now we're just anti Trump. Joseph Thomas says, I used to be a Republican. As if you know something. You don't know anything. You don't know me. I was never a Republican and I was never a Democrat. Do I hate Donald Trump? Well, let's see. He tried to overthrow the country. He stole classified documents. He sexually assaults women. Yeah, I hate Donald Trump, but it has nothing to do with Republican or Democrat. I am neither. I'm helping the Democrats, fighting with the Democrats now because we have a dumpster fire, which is known as the Republican Party and Donald Trump. No, I don't like Donald Trump. And if anybody likes Donald Trump, they either can't read, they can't understand, they're stupid, or they're evil. I'm glad I actually came across you tonight. You always make my night. Well, thank you very much. You folks make my night when you show up here. Mayak said Rolling Stone posted Trump has 70 election deniers in official positions in swing states. I get tired of people coming to me and saying, keep trying to tell me things that they really don't know for sure the facts. They just hear this from somebody. The fact is, it probably came from a Republican mouth. Everybody's looking for something to be worried about. We've got everything to be positive about. So instead of being negative, fucking be positive. We have been dealing with MAGA for 10 years. We are tired. Yes, we are. Well, who do you think Kamala should pick? I think of all the choices she has, any one of them would be a good choice. Whoever she thinks is going to work best with her. Do you think he will debate Harris? Yes and no. I think immediately he's going to say no because he's scared to death. But he may get embarrassed and pushed in a corner, and he may do it because Donald Trump makes bad choices. So he'd be better off if he didn't debate her. But again, Donald Trump does some stupid stuff. Jasmine Crockett is going to work with Kamala. Well, she's going to support Kamala. I don't know if she'll be in the administration or not, but she's a sharp young lady. Let's see here. Legit worried about them stealing it through manipulation of the electoral certification process. I wouldn't worry about the certification process. The VP is in charge of the certification, and guess who that is? Kamala Harris. You think Donald Trump's going to convince Kamala Harris to not certify election where she's been elected president? I don't think that's going to fucking happen. Viv says, I enjoy listening to you. Glad I found you. I love Pete too. Thanks for your info. Thanks, Viv. I appreciate it. It sounded like Trump said he wasn't a Christian the other day. No, that's not what he said. He said, I'm a Christian, but he slurred because he's an old fucking man on Adderall and he can't complete a sentence. When is McConnell up for election again? Because he's a troublemaker and a hot mental mess. I think he's got 2 more years after the 2024 election here in November. But is he going to make it another 2 years? I don't know. He's kind of a mess too. Um, DT can't think. He can only attack and react. Yeah, he's like a injured animal. He's not thinking it at all. It's all reactionary. It's all emotional. And when you do that, you make all kinds of mistakes, as is proven by just watching Donald Trump. This is a good question. I have not seen who financially supports them. Yeah, you don't get a lot of transparency from the Republicans. There's a lot of big money people that will support Donald Trump, but there's a lot of small money people that support Kamala Harris. Which one's better? Well, these big money people only have so many votes. These small money donors have a lot of votes. So I'd rather get the money from the small donors. That means you've got more support from the electorate. Um, Ophelia says he basically said he won't debate tonight on Fox, scared to death. Yeah, Donald Trump is a pussy ass bitch. I don't think there's any question about it. And Donald Trump is easily embarrassed and he hates being looking like he's weak. So we need to keep repeating this, that you're a chicken shit, that you're a pussy ass bitch for not debating. Doesn't matter. Kamala will still destroy him in her speeches like she's been doing. Who is on the short list? I think there's Tim Walz, Josh Shapiro, and Mark Kelly. Kamala is the best choice. However, I'll vote for Mickey Mouse before I vote for him, or a ham sandwich. Do you think Trump will debate? No, I don't think he will. Not initially, anyway. Josh's stance on Israel could be a problem. Yeah, that's one thing to be considered. And I'm thinking it may not be Josh. Josh would be a good choice. Um, the thing about the Minnesota governor, Tim Walz, he's really good. He's really articulate. He fights back. And there isn't much to cause problems. I mean, he's not going to help win the state of Minnesota because the state of Minnesota is going to vote for Kamala anyway. But he's a good, safe bet, and he's a strong talker. That's why I think he might be the possibility. Mark Kelly could be a good choice too because he's from a border state. He's kind of pushed back against Biden on his border strategies. So that might help answer that question. I don't know. I'm looking forward to finding out who it is. But like I said, no matter who she picks, she's in good shape. All right, let's move ahead here. I keep getting behind here. Russia has China. No, I don't know what that means. Boomer, what about Elon posting deep fakes of Kamala without warning its parody? Well, that's ironic because that is against the rules of that app, X. But apparently, Elon Musk can break the rules without any problem. Apparently, with X, he's got the very same immunity that Donald Trump thinks he has with the Department of Justice. Elon Musk is a joke. Everybody tried to tell us he's a smart man, and everything he's done is absolutely stupid. Elon Musk does this deep fake. Everybody knows it's a deep fake now. But didn't he tell Donald Trump that he'd give him $45 million a month up until the election, and then he just pulled it out? Who the fuck is he supporting? So apparently he's not supporting Donald Trump, but he's definitely against Kamala. What's he hope to accomplish? But I thought each state had to certify the elections at the state and county levels. Well, they are certified in the states. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But um, people keep saying, people keep saying, oh, he's going to cheat. You remember he cheated in 2020. He was the sitting president and he fucking failed. What makes you think he's going to do it now with Joe Biden, the sitting president, and Kamala, the vice president? People want to find things to worry about. Oh no, it looks good, but the sky is going to fall. Just stop that shit. That does us no good in this war or this fight. Keep fighting and it'll be fine. Thank you. You calm my spirit. Well, thank you. I'm glad I can accomplish that for some folks out there because TJ the plumber says, Mike, we've hit the 1 hour mark, but everything is stable if you want to keep. Yeah, we'll keep going for a little bit longer. Got people still asking questions. We'll go another 15, 20 minutes and then we'll wrap it up. Um, Russian ships are holed up near Cuba. Well, that could be. What do you think about Elon pushing propaganda on X? Not surprised at all. Not surprised. Elon Musk is a piece of shit. Elon Musk is going to have a bad life after the November election, too. Trump says Christians will never have to vote again after 4 years if they vote. What is he implying? Who knows? This motherfucker doesn't even know what he's implying. But a lot of folks are suggesting that he means I'll never leave office again. And that's as good a guess as any. Donald Trump won't get that opportunity. And if he's trying to sell a dictatorship, well, good luck to him because I don't think the Republicans even like that idea. I'm hearing reports that GOP is trying to mess with voting systems. Should we worry? No. I mean, all the things they might have done in 2020, people have become aware of, and they're making closer watch on it. And as I said, when they messed around with the elections and stuff like that, that's when Donald Trump was in office and he was able to control and protect them. He's not in office anymore. Joe Biden is. This is a different world. Keep in mind, we got the election coming up. We've got the certification coming up. Joe Biden is the sitting president. And guess what? He also has fucking immunity, too. Now, Donald Trump or Joe Biden's not the kind of guy that would abuse that immunity, but if he looks like they're taking down an election or a certification, Joe's got nothing to lose, man. He could call SEAL Team 6 out for that matter. I honestly think she's going for Shapiro from Pennsylvania. That will almost ensure a win in Pennsylvania. Yeah, that's possible. Do you think Biden will pardon Hunter? Biden's the kind of guy that sticks to his promises. I think it really depends on what kind of sentence Hunter Biden gets. But I wouldn't be mad if he did. I think he should. Fuck him. I'm surprised Russia hasn't bailed Trump out financially. Any thoughts? Well, we don't know that they haven't given him some money. Um, but I think he probably owes folks in Russia a lot of money. We know he owes $20 million to North Korea. They want that shit back, but Donald Trump doesn't fucking pay anybody. So, um, let's see here. Do you think that Biden will pardon Hunter? Initially, no, but depending on what happens, he might. I mean, if they sentence the kid to prison, he'll probably pardon him. What's he got to lose? But he won't pardon him until after the election if he does that. Um, Younger boomers are on a different course than the uppers. Yeah, I'm a young boomer. I was born in 1960 and boomers go to 1964. So I'm almost on the cusp of a Gen X. That's why I'm kind of confused. I kind of think a little bit like a Gen X and a little bit like a boomer. But I was born in the period where I'm a boomer. So I carry that title proudly. See here. Good evening, Boomer. Glad I caught you this evening. Well, thank you, Lisa or Lissa. Voted blue since '88 and never been this enthusiastic. Yeah, that's the one thing about this. In all the presidential elections I've seen, I've never seen this much excitement for a candidate. And I'll tell you why there's this much excitement. We've had this darkness over us for 8 months because of MAGA, because of the Trump-lefucks, because of Donald Trump. We knew that Joe Biden could probably beat Donald Trump, but he didn't have the fight that we wanted him to have. Donald Trump is like a fucking steamroller. Unless you hit him back, it's hard to stop him. Joe Biden's not that kind of guy. Uh, even when he was a younger man, and so he was a mismatch in terms of personalities. Now Kamala Harris, that's an entirely different motherfucking deal. Entirely different. Um, she will fight back. She will push back, and that's what bullies hate. Bullies like to enter into fights and make threats only when they know they're going to win. If there's some possibility that they're not going to win, they run away. And that's what Donald Trump is clearly doing with this upcoming debate. White dudes for Harris raised $4 million. Remember what happened? We had the black women get on a Zoom. They raised $1.5 million, had 44,000 people on the Zoom. Everybody was excited. Then we got black men coming on, and they got a lot of people and raised a lot of money, and that was cool. Then white women came along, and they got 136,000 people on the Zoom and got over 2 million. But then the white men did it, and they got under 2,000 people, only raised $35,000. I called them out on TikTok, and a lot of people called them out and said, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" Now, last I heard, there may have been as many as 60,000 people on for this second white man Zoom, and now somebody's saying they've raised $4 million. That means everybody's behind Kamala Harris, black, white, men, women. It doesn't matter. Like I told one woman, whether you're black or white, we're all fighting for the same thing. We're fighting between good versus evil. If you're good, you're just like me. If you're bad, you're just like Trump. Somebody's saying 120K. It had been live streamed this time. Now somebody else is saying 180,000 viewers on White Man. Way to go, White Man. I don't have much positive to say about white men being a white man, but good on you guys. I'm glad you guys came out and did what you needed to do. All right, where are we going here now? 180,000 and $4 million for white men on Zoom. Nice, motherfuckers. Okay, Ocean says 4 million. Yes, I just got off the white dude call. Way to go, man. Way to stir that shit up. I'm sure Donnie Trump will be excited when he hears that news. He hates losing. Veterans had a Zoom too, Angie says. I'd be interested to hear about that. Mama Try says, I'm Gen X, but I have a Gen Z daughter. The Gen Zs are huge into Harris. Yeah, that's another problem that Donald Trump has. The young people really love Kamala Harris. If you don't have the young people in this election, and certainly in the 2028 election, you're going to lose, motherfucker. So sorry, Donnie. The young people hate your guts. Thoughts on Kennedy? I have no thoughts on Kennedy. He's an absolute joke. If he runs, he's going to take votes away from Donald Trump and not Kamala Harris. I hope he does run, but he's an absolute joke. He's a nutcase. He's an anti-vaxxer. He's a conspiracy theorist, and he's more Republican than he is Democrat, even though he identifies as Democrat. I don't think much about him. He's a joke. He doesn't have a chance to really do anything but hurt the Republicans, and if he does that, I'm for him. Billy says, if an AR-15 bullet brushes by an ear, why does ex-Trump still have his ear? I don't get it. I say the same thing. I'm not a gun expert, but I've talked to enough people who have said that even if you get nicked by a high velocity round from an AR-15, it's going to do some significant damage. And even after the shooting, when he was standing on the stage with a bloody ear, you could see the full outline of his ear. There was nothing taken out of his ear. And that tells me it wasn't a bullet. I don't know what it was. Some people say it's shrapnel. Some people say he had a little razor blade and cut himself. And if he did that, then he knew what was going on. And if he knew what was going on, that is going to be that's going to be a fucking mess. Just Steve says, the man who brought us the phrase Trumplafuck. Yeah, I did coin that phrase. I tend to make things up for people I don't like, and I did coin the phrase Trumplafuck. It's funny. I had an older woman DM me, and she says, Mike, I'm 75 years old, but I want to know the correct spelling for Trumplafuck. I said, I don't know what that is. I just made the word up and I spelled it like you, just Steve, Trump, Lifuck. And she goes, okay, good. I said, can I ask you why you need the correct spelling? I mean, there is no correct spelling because it's not a real word. Why do you need it? She says, I just want to make sure I spell it right when I post it on Facebook. They go, you sure you want to do that? It might get you in trouble. It's one thing for me to do it, but other people may not take too kindly. Nah, he's a Trump-a-fuck. I want to put it up. Okay, cool. Hopefully she continues to be safe. Hello, sir from California. You make any night listening to you. Kamala will win. Yes, Andy, Kamala will win. Linda Ryan, Justice. He's got some good ideas, but he's too extreme at this time. His voice is weird. I'm not sure who you're talking about there. Sorry about that. Um, what else we got? I'm not worried about the election interference of any kind. Um, yeah, no, I'm not worried about it either. Um, did you watch any of the white dudes for Kamala? No, I didn't. I'm sorry, I didn't. But I've heard 180,000 men, white men, $4 million. That's a good night. That's a fucking excellent night. Um, let's see here. She is going to wipe the floor with Trump. Yes, I agree. Boomer, it was a good night for the good guys. Again, the fundraiser had 190,000 people on the Zoom, $4 million donated. Now I can finally be proud of the white guys. I knew we had it in us, and thank you for doing that. Mark Hamill was on. Well, that didn't hurt. The guy from Star Wars, Luke Skywalker, he shows up. A lot of the Star Wars nerds will show up too. Um, let's see here. I watched 2.5 hours of white men, great speakers. Yeah, I can imagine. You know, the white women, the black men, they all had great speakers, some stars and that sort of thing. It's great to see. 200K women and 11 million raised. Yep, absolutely. She's talking about RFK. Yeah, RFK is a piece of shit. He's a goofball. He's not mentally or physically sound. Anybody that votes for him can't read or is just dumb. Cindy says, I finally caught you on a live. I followed you from the beginning. Thank you very much, Cindy. I'll tell you this, Cindy. This is coincidental. My wife's name is Cindy. This isn't my wife because she spells it differently, and she's not on TikTok, but thank you. Who should she pick for VP? Like I've said, anybody she picks out of the group we've seen is going to be a good choice. I don't honestly know. Breeze for life. Good night, Boomer. It's always a pleasure listening to you. I've learned so much since following you. Thank you, Breeze. I appreciate it. And I will tell you this, from doing these TikTok lives, doing the podcast, reading emails, and just getting comments on my TikToks, I learn a lot too. And I appreciate it because we've all got plenty to learn. JD Vance, did you see the post mad because his wife was Indian? I was laughing so hard. Yeah. Oh, come on. I'd be more fun to go after trolls. I'll be nice. I'm sure you would. I'm sure you would. Kamala said she will debate an empty lectern if Trump doesn't show. That would be hilarious. And that's exactly what she should do. Again, I want to remind folks to check out the Rational Boomer podcast. This TikTok live will be tomorrow's podcast. You can get the Rational Boomer podcast on Spotify. Just search Rational Boomer and you'll find it. I've done close to 1,300 podcasts, so there's plenty there to listen to. On the audio podcast, I do something different too, because one of the listeners asked me to. I take the TikToks I did for a day, I put them all together and put it up as a short podcast too, in addition to the regular podcast. And if you want to watch the video of the podcast, you can go to YouTube and search Rational Boomer. You will find it there. Now the white women have to show up. Hope we do our part this time. White women did show up, Mama Try. They got 136,000 people and they raised over $2 million. They did a hell of a job. How will here's something you don't often hear. Sparks says, thank you, white men. Not the old white men, though. I'm sure these were a lot of younger white men. I'm concerned that a civil war might happen if Trump loses. It will not happen. It happened in 2020 because Donald Trump was in control and power in the presidential office. He was able to protect them. Now Joe Biden's in the office. He's in charge of the National Guard in D.C. They could have come out when he was indicted, but they didn't. They could have come out when he was convicted, but they didn't. They know better. A lot of them are already in jail for what happened on January 6th, 2021. They aren't going to do it again. I guarantee you that. The force is with Kamala. Yes, I agree completely. Dr. You were there in spirit. Your words resonate in all patriots. Thank you very much. Someone said it was a rainbow of me beige. That's us, the beige ones. You are one of my favorites, 3 years fan here. You are my voice of reason. Well, thank you, Cindy. I appreciate that very much. I get a lot of people to talk shit about me out here, and I used to show that to my wife, and she was always felt bad about it. How can you do that? And I said, yeah, but I get a lot more people that say very nice things about me, and for that I am appreciative. Madam VP has a Zoom call tomorrow. That could be interesting. RFK Jr. is taking Trump votes. Who cares about the butt bag? His own family backed Harris and Biden. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not worried about RFK. I'll be surprised if RFK even runs in November. He's running out of money. Nobody gives a fuck about him. Every time he shows up, he gets made fun of. Let's see here. You and Steve Kornacki will keep me calm on election night. Funny you should say that, Annie. My wife loves Steve Kornacki. I think he's good too. I'm just not big on polls. Mike, I thank you for sharing, but I think that all the Republicans really got to think. Yeah, don't worry about the Republicans. I from a boomer in Arizona. Hey, EB, did you know I used to live in Arizona for a short time when I was between 19 and 20 years old? I worked at a little teeny shitty radio station in a little town called Holbrook in northern Arizona. It wasn't the greatest experience, but it was probably one of the greatest learning lessons I've ever had. So I'm familiar with Arizona. I go back to Phoenix from time to time, probably going there this winter for a week or so. So I love Arizona. The dude, aka actor Jeff Bridges, was on the call and endorsed Harris. Right. He went on. I saw him do a video, and he says, "I am a white guy, and I am the dude." So, yeah, it was great to see Jeff there. Thank you so much from California. I'm a big fan. Thank you. I'm a big fan of California. In fact, I was working on something today. We may be coming to Los Angeles at the end of October. My brother and I, and my wife, and some other people coming out just to take a trip and see a Vikings game and see the sights. So, love California. Uh, love LA. Good night. Thank you for always keeping it real. Love the content. Yeah, I've been on here for about an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm sure a lot of people are getting tired. We've covered a lot of shit, so I'm going to wrap it up too. I want to thank you for joining me on the TikTok. I want to encourage you to listen to the Rational Boomer podcast. Go to Spotify, search Rational Boomer. Go to YouTube, search Rational Boomer. You can catch it there. You can get the TikToks always on TikTok and on YouTube and on Facebook and Instagram. So we got you covered no matter what happens. Flash says, good night. Thank you for always keeping it real. I love your contents. Thank you for you all keeping it real and supporting me. I'm just flattered as hell when I get people who support me. And when I started this, I didn't know what was going to happen. And the fact that you're all there doing the things you're doing, and if all of us are stirring up other people to support the right side as opposed to the wrong side, then we're doing something here. When we're all dead and gone, at least our kids can say our grandmas and grandpas tried to do something. All right. You have a great night. I hope you have a great day tomorrow. I'm pretty sure it will be. We're on a roll here. So let's keep it rolling. Have a good night. Thank you. All right. I always forget. I finished the TikTok live. I think I'm done, but I'm not done because I still have the podcast that I'm doing. But we're going to wrap it up anyway. We've gone on long enough. Hopefully, you got as much out of the TikTok live as I get out of it. So hopefully that works for you. I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.